day. Welcome to Rotary in Action. Water is life. Life without water is impossible. That's why we in Rotary are doing our share to adequately manage this resource. Today, past District Governor Sid Garcia and I are going to talk about Presidential Conference on Water. Also, past President Marilen Lagniton and Dr. Helen Mogan will educate us on water situation in the Philippines. All this and more on tonight's episode. So please join us again because we're happy people serving people. Good evening once again, fellow Rotarians and friends of Rotary. Welcome to the Governor's Corner of Rotary in Action. Tonight, we move again from the studio and go to the office of one of the pillars of Rotary, not only in his district, which is District 3830, but nationwide. As we talk to our guest tonight, none other than Governor Sid Garcia, the chairman of the organizing committee of the Presidential Conference on WASH.
Good evening, Jess. Good evening to all the Rotarians watching this show. Thank you very much for having me, and I'm pleased to talk to you about the Presidential Conference. The Presidential Conference is normally initiated by the Rotary International President for the current year. So depending on his initiative and on his plan, he lays out this conference, which is normally held in different parts of the world, and he identifies the focus or the emphasis of that conference.
And how often is this being held, Governor Sid?
Well, this is held once a year if the president wants it.
I see. And in the case of the Philippines, have we had presidential conferences before?
Yes, we have had two. The first one was under past Rotary International Director Pahinga Chanova. And the latest one was in 2004. It was under past District Governor Herman Gamboa, and the focus was on poverty alleviation. That was a very successful conference. We had about 800 delegates coming from all over Asia.
Yes, Governor Sid. And I gathered that there's a specific topic that's being discussed in a presidential conference.
Yes, well, as you know, Gov. Jess, Rotarians have 6 areas of focus. And the areas of focus that our president has chosen for the Philippines is water concerns. So that is the topic of our conference.
Is there anything significant about the water that our RI President Ravi Ravindran chose this particular concern?
The World Economic Forum recently announced water to be the #1 global risk, and they see it for the next 10 years. So Rotarians are really encouraged by our president to do a lot of water projects because it's a crisis right now that we have, not only in the Philippines but all over the world.
I see. And I saw some statistics about death because of water-related causes?
Yes, 90% of child-borne diseases come from water. We have cholera, typhoid. In fact, 3,000 children die every day.
3,000
yes,
children
die every day, and the primary cause is because of diarrhea, because the water are polluted.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, Governor, because I was just looking at this material, and it says that as of 2010, the DepEd says that there has been more than 7,000 schools in the primary level which have no steady water source. And more than 90,000 school toilets need to be constructed.
That is why the theme of our conference is water, sanitation, and hygiene in schools. Because we want Rotary clubs, we want NGOs to look at water in relation to sanitation and hygiene. Because our children, which is the most precious resource of our country, need to become educated, need to be productive. And how can they do that if they're always sick? Or some of them are dying because of poor sanitation and hygiene conditions.
I see. Is the conference to be attended only by Rotarians, Governor?
No, this is organized by Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation. That's why we have no less than President Ravi, who is conducting this, and also the TRF chairman, Ray Klinging-Smith, who will be also addressing the conference. And we have invited business association like PCCI, MAP, and also we're inviting the local governments of each city. We're inviting the water district. We're inviting the regional directors of the Department of Education to attend. In other words, it's open to the public because it's a global concern, not only limited to Rotarians. We have also invited people coming from Taiwan, Indonesia, Malaysia, Pakistan, Hong Kong, Macau, to come over and learn from the conference.
I see.
One interesting highlight of the conference is the WASH Challenge. What is the WASH Challenge? The WASH Challenge aims to identify outstanding water, sanitation, and hygiene projects that is being conducted by different Rotary districts. And we have identified about 30 projects right now. So out of 30, we will name the 12 outstanding WASH projects. No? And if they make it, we will give them $1,000 each. What's more important there is the value of the learning, because it's going to be a best practice. So other clubs, other NGOs can learn from it, and they can duplicate these outstanding projects, thus increasing our capacity to do outstanding water projects in different parts of the country and also in the region.
I see. So that's about the participants. What about the speakers, the resource persons? You mentioned RI President Ravi Ravindran and TRF Trustee Chair
Correct.
Ray Klinging-Smith.
Jack, Mr. Toilet Sim.
Yeah?
He is a Singaporean, a very successful Singaporean businessman who has decided to devote much of his time to promoting toilet education.
Yeah.
Would you know that in the Philippines, there are about 100 million Filipinos. Would you know how many cell phones we have? More than 120 million.
Wow.
And we have less than that in terms of toilets. Because you know, the poor people in the Philippines, where we live, 100 million, we have about 30% who are poor. And I'm sure a lot of the poor people don't have toilets. So he's really telling us we need to manage our waste. And we need to do it in a way that will not harm our environment. And we need to do it in a way that will really sustain it. So that is how he will share his experiences on successful toilet projects in different parts of the country.
Thank you very much, Governor
Yeah,
Sid.
thank you. It's a pleasure, Gov. Jess.
And fellow Rotarians and friends of Rotary, we will be back in our Rotary in Action.
The state of water today, from its supply and conservation to its drinkability and sanitation, is a global concern. Nearly 1 million deaths a year are attributed to unclean water, as well as 1.5% of the global burden of disease. The stark reality, however, is that 780 million people still have no access to clean water, and nearly 1.9 billion lack adequate sanitation. Let's talk about the conference issues about water with the water woman herself, Helen Water Woman Mogan.
Hello.
Good evening, Helen.
Hi, good evening.
First of all, let me ask you, how did you get involved with water and water issues? And incidentally, Helen is also a past president and an active member of the Rotary Club of Parañaque Metro. How did you get involved in water?
My father and my great-grandfather were watermen themselves.
Oh, okay.
They were the first people who introduced deep well drilling in La Union.
Okay.
And that's how I got involved.
All right.
Yeah.
We said that water is a global concern.
It is,
Let's
yeah.
come down to the Philippines and tell me, how acute is the lack of access to safe water in this country?
Right now, the Philippine government has just told us that only 36% of our rivers can be used for freshwater drawing. If your rivers are dirty, you cannot use the water from those rivers. The other problem is of pollution. 58% of all the water coming from our deep wells are polluted. During the dry season, which starts now up to June or July, basically we don't have much water to use, especially those who are in remote areas. People spend a lot of time fetching water from very far away places, and I tell you that women and young children spend millions of hours fetching water alone.
What advances are in place or are going to be in place that will advance the sanitation and the cleaning of water? How does this conference aim to make this awareness more comprehensive within the country?
The good news is that we have water districts, and they're the ones supplying water all over the Philippines. In the national capital region or in Metro Manila, we have two big conglomerates on the water supply, like Maynilad, right? They're the ones supplying us 92%. Actually, we have reached our Millennium Development Goal from the UN in 2012 for the supply of water. The only problem that I really want to emphasize is that during dry season, we have a lot of supply problems.
Has it become more critical today compared to, say, 4, 5, 7 years ago? Is the problem becoming more serious despite whatever efforts there are to alleviate the condition?
Well, in 10 years from now, Metro Manila will not have water from that we can get from the aquifers, because right now the water in Metro Manila, the deep wells, are not anymore feasible. There's salt in it, and you cannot drink water with salt. So that's one big problem. And the deeper we go, the more expenses we will have. And so we will have to depend on the water districts. We really have to improve the operations of our water districts. Of course, the Philippine problem on water will keep becoming worse because of the increase in population. And whenever there is increase in population, we will have to add a lot of food on the table. We have to manufacture a lot of commodities, and that will increase the problem on water needs.
What is the most heavily hit among the regions in the country?
Metro Manila, I think.
Really?
Yes, we are now approximately 50 meters below the water tables. And there is proof that there's water, there's intrusion of water. Not only that, most of our water from our aquifers are polluted, and we cannot use our rivers as a source of water. Our dam is critical on dry season, and that's why we have to ration water during dry season.
What about sanitation and hygiene?
Yes.
But what is the more significant direct relevance of sanitation and hygiene and either the lack of water?
According to our global statistics, one child dies every 90 seconds. Yes, that's how bad it's now. In the Philippines, 33% of all diseases are all waterborne related. 33%. So that includes, for example, dirty water,
Diarrhea, dengue even.
Dengue, yes.
Right.
They're all water related. There's death, there's disease because of lack of access to clean water. Children sometimes don't want to go to school because they don't have water in school. And so if they need to go to relieve themselves, and they know there's no water in there, it's not sanitary. There's also a problem of young girls not going to school because they have their periods and they don't have sanitary access to a toilet or a lavatory. So
Okay.
those are the problems.
And I understand the reason why this conference is being held. And I also understand that the program is really an effort to disseminate information on the urgency, not even just the importance, but the urgency of water, the water issues in the Philippines. How can you transfer the conference content to the general public? I mean, how is it going to be relevant to the person that is the principal at a school in the province, for instance?
We are planning to do some education and advocacy programs, and right now there is incorporation of the water studies in the elementary and high school and in kindergarten. It's mandated by the Department of Education and Department of Health. We are volunteering ourselves as Rotarians to help in the dissemination of such information that we gather from the conference. So there will be a fact-finding committee who will be collating all the information from the conference, and we shall share it with the public, especially with the schools.
And what sorts of topics are going to be covered during this two-day conference? Who are the experts that are going to be there? And what sort of message, single message, does it bring to the public?
Okay, we have a lot, like 7 major speakers, and one of them is Miss Louise Moll from the Philippine UNICEF area, and she will be talking about the current WASH situations. WASH means water, sanitation, and hygiene, right? So we call it WASH.
In the Philippines, in terms of the region or in terms of the area, who is the most aggressive in really focusing on water issues?
In schools, the Department of Education is actively pursuing the problems. The problem is that there seems to be no coordination. Sometimes there is lack of coordination and implementation. Once the project is done, they tend to forget that there is a toilet there. So the maintenance and continuation of that program or that toilet is a very big problem. 40% of those projects fail.
That's really sad. How can this conference help in making people more committed? Without the commitment, the project fails because people forget, right? And there's no continuity, like you said. So how can this conference, or how can your group, or how can Rotary help in making people truly commit to not letting go, and making this a continuing effort?
We have invited some business people like the Management Association of the Philippines and others. We are getting their commitment to be engaged in WASH projects and in the financing of this project. That's one. Number two, as I mentioned earlier, we are committed to help more in the education and awareness, advocacy of water problems. And I am doing a lot of information and advocacy on a lot of matters concerning water.
I'm really going to be a little nagging about this, but what are we doing in the provinces? I understand you said that the biggest issues and the biggest problems are right here in Metro Manila. But we hear horror stories about schools that absolutely have no toilets at all. So what's being done there? And the Department of Education has talked a lot about alleviating that problem, but what have the groups done, the advocacy groups?
I am sure that we have a lot of programs on WASH. In fact, we have put up the Rotary Project Fair on WASH, and we are awarding $1,000 per winner to encourage them to have more programs on WASH. Now, this is a very sad fact. In the ARRM region, which has the lowest ratio of, say, sanitation, one toilet is to 200 people. The average in the NCR is 1:25. The UN mandated ratio is 1:25. The Department of Education is 1:50, or depending whether female or male. So in that area, ARRM, they really need our help more. So we are going to get the commitment of a lot of Rotarians during this conference to help more in the priority areas like Mindanao. because according to the latest statistics, we are above average in meeting the Millennium Development Goals in terms of sanitation in a lot of areas in the Philippines, 43%.
Okay,
Yes.
well, I'm going to say congratulations for putting this conference together. There you go. You heard it from the water woman herself, Helen Mogan. Your reaction will be right back.
You're still watching Rotary in Action with me, PDG Jess. Ngayon naman ay ating aalamin kung ano ang water management project ng ating featured club. Magandang gabi sa inyong dalawa. At maraming salamat at pinaunlakan nyo kami at ininyahan nyo kami dito sa inyong tanggapan. Batiin natin at magpakilala na rin kayo sa ating mga tagapanood.
Thank you, Gov. Jess. Ako po ay si World Class President Ed Mercado of the Rotary Club of Metro SFDM and presently also employed at Manila Water. Binabati ko ang ating mga televiewers, especially ang ating mga members ng Metro Rotary Club of Metro SFDM.
Hi, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si Jesse Castillo, First Class President and First Class President also. Bumabati po ako sa mga kasamahan natin sa Rotary, lalong-lalo na sa District 3780.
Thank you very much, Ed and Jessie. Alam nyo, ang episode natin ito ay tungkol sa water. As you know, water and sanitation is one of the 6 areas of focus of the Rotary Foundation. Is also one of the areas of focus ng Rotary International. Nabalitaan din namin na ang Rotary Club of Metro SFTM ang namamayagpag among the clubs in 3780 ng sa water projects. So tell us about it. Ano ba ang ginagawa ng Rotary Club of Metro SFTM tungkol dito sa ating water conservation, environmental protection?
Unang-una, napakadali para sa aming Rotarians ang to provide the service because Manila Water is also a service provider, water service. So, napakadali para sa aming Rotarians to go hand in hand with Manila Water because parehas yung serbisyo na ibinibigay natin. No? Sa amin, yung mga programa ng Manila Water ay suportado ng Metro SFDM in the areas of environmental protection, water conservation. Isa sa mga malaki naming project is yung Adopt a Watershed program, wherein Rotary Club of Metro SFDM signed a memorandum of agreement with Manila Water for the tree planting reforestation of the watershed area in Ipo. This is located in North Saragaray, Bulacan, where we get our water source, that's sa Ipo Dam. Sa ngayon, nakapagtanim na kami ng around 2,000 trees din and probably mga 70% have already nabuhay naman.
So Jessie, has this been an ongoing project of your club? Mga kailan pa ba ito naumpisahan?
Nag-start ito since I believe mga 2007 up to now. Every year, kakanda kami ng tree planting sa Ipudam, sa watershed.
Ano bang puno ang tinatanim ng Metro SFDM?
Hindi po tayo nagtatanim ng puno ng mahogany kasi mabilis itong sumipsip ng tubig. Mas pinipili po natin kung ang itatanim ay yung mga puno na hindi siya makakaabala doon sa pag-iipon natin ng tubig sa Ipudam.
At napagpag-usapan natin yung tubig, ano?
Opo.
Itong sa Ipudam, ang siyang nagdadala ng tubig sa ating
Metro Manila.
pangangailangan sa Metro Manila.
Tama kayo doon.
Actually, ang tubig natin ay nanggagaling sa Angat River. Then from Angat River, it is transported to Ipo River. Ang Ipo River is a diversion river. May tinayo tayong dam and doon tayo magdodraw ng tubig para sa community natin. Ang kahalagahan kasi ng pagtatanim sa watershed is kung titignan mo yung watershed natin, ito ay yung nasa gilid ng ating river. Ito ang nag-hold ng mga tubig ng soil doon sa gilid. Kung kalbo na tong mga puno na to, ang tendency niya magkakaroon ng soil erosion, and then yung river natin na nag-hold ng tubig bumababa yung holding capacity niya sa tubig. So pag bumaba yung holding capacity niya, the water, kukonti na lang yung magiging capacity ng river. Kukonti ang maibibigay nating tubig. So that's the point.
Rotary is very much involved in providing access to clean water.
Yes.
Worldwide yan. No? And even here in the Philippines, tayo mismo sa mga Rotary clubs, talagang gumagawa tayo ng projects that could help alleviate yung mga lack of water in some areas. Yung club naman ninyo, ano naman ang bukod sa tree planting, meron ba kayong ibang projects relating to water?
Meron ko. Actually, itong nakaraang February, I believe 20 or 20s sa Amoranto, yung ating district through Rotary Club of Kamuning ay nag-conduct ng alay para sa kabataan. Nag-assist po ang Club Metro San Francisco del Monte para doon po sa water station na ginanap para sa mga kabataan sa Amoranto.
Isa pang tinitingnan ng ating distrito dito sa Pilipinas, yung ating ability to help children in schools. And you know very well that in our district, there are some clubs na tumutulong sa mga bata sa eskwelahan by way of putting up not only water facilities, but improving yung sanitation naman by way of improving yung mga toilets and all that. Is Metro SFDM also involved in this?
Since we are El Nino, we advocate also yung water conservation.
So, muli, nagpapasalamat kami sa inyo. There you have it, mga kasambahay. And to our featured club, keep it up.
No one can live without water. Unfortunately, many people in the world don't have access to clean water. Many children die every year because of waterborne diseases. In the Philippines, 7,000 schools in the primary level have no steady water source, and more than 900,000 school toilets need to be reconstructed to meet the sanitary standard. These resulted in children getting sick in 2010, which affected their educational growth and productivity. Because of the increasing number of deaths related to water, Rotary formed an action group which composed of 1,800 Rotarians to lead the safe water and sanitation projects all over the world. During the 2016 Presidential Conference on Water Sanitation and Hygiene held in Pasay, Manila last March 18 to 19, 14 districts participated in this advocacy with their own projects. Rotary Club of Bali Denpasar District 3420 for Clean Water and Sanitation Project. Rotary Club of Kowloon East District 3450 for Rotary Water Purification System for schools in China. Rotary Club of Maykawayan Uptown District 3770 for Water Saves Life. Rotary Club of Mabalacat District 3790 for Biosand Filter. Rotary Club of Hiyas ng Maynila District 3810 for Rotary Community Engagement Clean Water Supply in Lubang Island. Rotary Club of Intramuros District 3810 for Handog Posong Rotary. Rotary Club of Pasay West District 3810 for Sitio Calapi Water and Sanitation Project. Rotary Club of Rosario District 3820 for Water Saves Lives 2 installation of deep well jet pump. Rotary Club of Parañaque South District 3830 for wash in Agsilab Elementary Schools. Rotary Club of Pagadian District 3850 for wash challenge. Rotary Club of Pag-asa Davao District 3860 for installation of water filters, EcoSan toilets and washing station in 2015 in elementary and high schools in Marilog District of Davao City and properties adjacent to these schools. And Rotary Club of Waling-Waling Davao District 3860 for rainwater harvesting system to promote sanitation in 3 public schools in Davao City. Rotarians will never cease to think of ways on how to contribute for the welfare of their communities and for the whole world in general.
And that concludes our episode today. Visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/ria.untv. Rotary into Action would like to thank Live It. Take care of your liver with Live It. At sa OsteoGuard, tulong iwas osteoarthritis. Sa OsteoGuard, go galaw, wow! At sa New Moms, maging bidang nanay sa New Moms Malunggay. Please join us again next week. At tulad po ng laging sinasabi ni Kuya Daniel Razon, ang paggawa ng mabuti ay hindi kailanman magbubunga ng masama. Ako pong muli si Past District Governor Jess Cifra. Dito lang sa Rotary in Action because we are happy people serving people.
Rotary flag as a flag of peace and firm.